Hi, everybody. I'm Robin Austin. I hope you've had a great last few weeks of class. This week's video discussion board, we're discussing the problem of human scale and how it factors into a government's ability to effectively operate and meet the needs of its population. Dr. Livingstone's videos present the ideas of human scale and government in a really articulate and understandable way. And in this week's videos, he discusses two visions of political order, one view belonging to Aristotle and one to Thomas Hobbes. And earlier in one of our modules, he also spoke of David Hume, who believed that a federation should not be any larger than the size of Great Britain. And we're going to look at David Hume also at the end of this video. So Aristotle believed that political order was natural to man, just as family was natural to man or love was natural to man. And he believed in a small republic with no more than 300,000 people within that republic. So he believed in having a smaller population and a smaller land size. Thomas Hobbes, on the other hand, believed that political order was not natural, but that it was something that was formed through the will and power of people, and that it is a construct of people, that it was constructed by them and for them. He believed in a minimal civil associations and a much larger government. And he had a very more modern view with a very large government and a large population. Hobbes believed in the need for a large government and the need for a coercive power in government, or that anarchy and chaos would ensue. He believed that people, for the most part, lead a solitary and short life, and that they are willing to give up their power and their freedoms to a central authority. He also believed that a strong government was the answer to anarchy and the answer to chaos. Hobbes also believed in the ideal of one and indivisible, and this idea is centered on a sovereign who has absolute power. There's one leader, and their power is never shared. There's no checks and balances because sharing power would reduce the government's ability to rule and increase that chance again for chaos and anarchy. And the power from this sovereign is not based on the person in charge, but on the office that is held. The office holds the power and not the person. So, what do modern views of political order look like? According to David Livingstone's article about David Hume, politics are creating smaller units in today's world, not larger. In the United Nations, two-thirds of recognized states within the United Nations are 10 million people or less. One half of the states are 5 million people or less. One third are 1 million or less. And Livingstone, in his article, believes that the Hobbesian state of the large government, large people is actually in a state of decline. Governments can effectively operate and meet the needs of its population can be greatly affected by both the size of the government and the size of the population and land. A small government and population can have problems with taking care of its citizens within the infrastructure that's needed, such as medical care, education, social reforms. And a large government and large population can have similar issues, but actually even on a larger scale, and requires a larger government to then have more power over its people. And it often requires the population and land to be broken into smaller federations or civil associations to be able to help more. While both have positive and negative impacts on their society, Dr. Livingstone's article on David Hume, called Republicanism and the Human Scale of Political Order, concludes that larger governments and populations are declining across the world. Thank you.